Good morning. Good morning. Um, so this morning, well, first of all, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. This will, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Afternoon, either way, both as well. Good morning, Jan, Angie, Violet, Ange Carter. Good morning, everyone. This will be my only Thanksgiving stream as I'm with the family. So I had actually spoken about this topic with my wife this morning, and as I started to render the schedule and the content for this video, it seemingly um, I seemingly found less and less relevance in doing in even doing this video, but I think that it's I think that it's pertinent that I go ahead and do it solely because and I want to make this very clear. This is not an attack on the behavioral panel in behavior panel in any way. All it is that inquire. I'm a critical thinker. You guys know that. So I got into critical thinking mode this morning when I was given. I wasn't given. I saw a piece of media, and the media. It was in reference to Mr. Scott at the behavioral panel, and he made a comment which I thought was it was interesting. I don't want to put any bad connotation on anything this morning at all. Thanks, Mark. Um, so my wife was, she understood, and she's like, "What is your ultimate goal in the end here? What's the end game?" And the end game is just I am curious about the rendering of Dr. Phil now that the information that I had brought to light last week. For anyone that isn't aware of what I'm referring to, I want to catch you up real quick. So we're going to go ahead and watch a couple of pieces of media as we go through this thing. I'm going to keep it very brief. I'd like to keep it around a half hour, and then we can get on with our days. This was The Secret. If any of you could remember, it was in reference to, it was in reference to the cornbread mafia stuff on Dr. Phil, right? So we know that the behavioral panel really focused in on her reaction to the cornbread mafia comment, and that was I had enough is enough about the cornbread mafia, and so that's when I said I couldn't keep the secret any longer, right? And that's when I came out and I spoke about the sighting in Georgia while they were at the show. And what I thought was so critical about that sighting, first of all, is I just found out this morning that allegedly Jenna was the one that called in that sighting from Georgia. So I feel that that's very interesting as well. So let's go ahead and move through my portion of the media to get any of you guys that aren't caught up with what I had. I'm not going to say necessarily exposed, but it was just a meaningful addition to what we already had going on at that time when they had left, or when the show came out, rather. So this was in regards to The Secret. I knew this right after it happened. No mention of any of it. Right. So right before Candace goes on the behavioral panel, they get a call from Georgia. People on the phone from the phone call from Georgia says, "We think we found Summer." Right? The caller on the phone couldn't be worse timing for Don and Candace. Which I'd like to add that at that time, there would have only been just a handful of people that knew that Don and Candace were even in California. I mean, and what their business was there, right? And you know, so I did find it interesting. Now that's just alleged, guys. Somebody just told me they heard Jenna state that she was the one that called in that sighting. So it's very interesting how this continues to unfold. So I guess you can get the gist of it there, right? There was this while Candace and Don were at Dr. Phil's, a call came in that was not mentioned on the Phil show or by the behavior panel anywhere. And the call came in, and allegedly it was from Jenna or someone in Jenna's network. And so the call came in that you know Summer had been spotted, and then shortly after that, another call came back in from the same folks saying that actually it wasn't Summer. So you had this crazy roller coaster of emotion, this up and this down, right before she goes onto the panel, right? So one of the things that I'd like to reiterate about the behavior panel is that they tell you they cannot tell you if someone is lying or telling the truth. All they can do is create a baseline of behaviors and movements, body movements, and then try to render an opinion from that. So I find it very interesting that, and we'll get to Mr. Scott's comment, but I think that it's very pertinent to kind of get a scope of what it is that the behavior panel does and what it is that their functioning is. Now, we all do understand that what they do is they render professional forensic opinions, right, based on science and fact. But little did we know that a huge emotional roller coaster had happened right before. And so my connotation was that they used that call in a way to sort of sensationalize the final edit, because we'll get to the questioning here in just a second. But this is it's all fair use. Fair use is an act that protects users from using other content for the purposes of comment, education, or commentary. It could be any number of things. We can't read minds. We read symptoms, as you say all the time. We read symptoms, but those are pretty clear. All these people as much as possible. So he just said right there, we can't read minds, and that is, you know, that's a truthism, right? It's a truism. We read symptoms, but those are pretty clear. All these people. Hold on. Say all the time. We read symptoms, but they read the symptoms, right? They read they interpret. To read them is I believe is an overstatement, or a sensationalism. But well, let's go away from that real quick. I'd like to show media that someone isn't going to strike me for, right? So YouTube TV, try it free. I believe this is the cornbread. Let me ask you, Candace, if this is. I'm sorry, this isn't the one. Forgive me. I wanted this to be uninterrupted, but I do apologize, guys. So we'll go back to live streaming can be tricky. The cornbread mafia. Sometimes trying to find the right. Since the night of June 15th, there are still no answers as to where Candace and Don's 5-year-old daughter Summer could be. Now, I'm here with body language experts. Okay, now this is significant to me for. Now, so we know that they can't tell you if someone's lying or telling the truth. All they can do is read the symptom. So I came out. This was on the 18th. Today is the 25th. So, I was the first one to come out, unfortunately, with what sincerely happened at the Dr. Phil show. So then another piece of media came into play for me this morning, and it was a young lady by the name of Brandy Gray. So if you're not familiar with who she is, you can go check her channel out. I personally haven't checked out anything other than just this right here. This sort of paints a narrative of what this channel could potentially be about. But so Deanna Roberts says, it is being said that Candace got a call during your taping that Summer was seen in Georgia. Then she got the call that it wasn't her, and you all knew this. You all knew this is why she got upset and left the show when asked about the Cornbread Mafia. If so, why didn't you or Dr. Phil tell us viewers about this instead of letting us believe they got her? So then right below, you'll see here the behavior panel. It's highlighted and checked. Mr. Scott here. We were there for that. She wasn't interested, not even a little bit. Then right below it, you see Deanna say she wasn't interested in Summer maybe being found? ? Thank you, Scott. I guess what I'm really here for, my purpose this morning is I need a little bit of clarity about the rendering from Dr. Phil, because when we have a rendering like we did, but we leave out a huge piece of the storyline, right? I was talking with my wife and I said, she didn't agree or disagree, but I was like, they could have engineered that into the show and made the dramatics even higher, right? Like, oh goodness, they were getting ready to come on the panel. And so when you see the blatant omission, and that's what we'll call it, when you see the blatant omission, so Scott had, he didn't even have to necessarily even render an opinion to this question, but he did. And his answer was, we were there for that. She wasn't interested, not even a little bit. So he tells you over here that he doesn't read minds, right? Is that she is feeling. I will also say, are the tears real? Absolutely, because you can't take a snotty nose, just to use regular old terms. And what we know is that she is feeling pain. She is feeling emotion here that we didn't see any other place in the story. So that's where you start to understand that he's interpreting her behavior based upon her reaction to the question about the Cornbread Mafia over and over. What you're not getting, it's context. It's like real estate, location. So context. They've omitted the call. And that's where you start to get this contradictive sort of issue, right? It's like they wanted this to be about the Cornbread Mafia and not about the way they edited it. In my opinion, and I think that we could all steer towards that being pretty factual, is that right here, this face, it came from hearing about the call, not about the Cornbread Mafia. So at the end, when we render this opinion and we say that she knows more and that we send all of America and the international community searching for the Cornbread Mafia, let me show you the legs and the reach that rendering of Cornbread Mafia had. Cornbread Mafia. It had a substantial reach. And let's not be confused about that, right? Look here. It essentially brought it back to life. The ideal of it, publicly in widespread. It's look at here, Summer Wells case. You'll get down into here. Where are we at here? Videos. Well, this is interesting because it used to last week, anything you pulled up had to do with Summer Wells. So it seems as if There, you just got to key search it. The search engine optimization has changed. They're no longer pushing Cornbread Mafia as the #1 search engine optimized search. You can see that, right? So you have to actually put in Summer Wells. It's separated itself. They're now two different things from this day forward. Whereas on the 12th, 16th, and thereon, everything Cornbread Mafia, as you can see, it related back to the Wells. So it's very interesting because, again, like I said, you see a complete separation, right? Whereas on the 12th, if you search Cornbread Mafia, it only pulled up stuff pertaining to how it related to Summer Wells. Now it does not, right? There has been, I would say, that official. It's back to its own separate entity, which is a good thing. So we'll move back over here. For Mr. Scott to render an opinion like that she wasn't interested would fall into mind reading. There's just no way that you can actually tell if someone's angry, happy, sad, so on and so forth. Those sort of emoting emotions that cause stuff like snotty nose that Mr. Scott just told you. So, it's a very interesting opinion because it's sort of completely contradictory to what actually happened that day during that period. So, I don't even really know where you go from here with that. It's just a very strange dynamic because this rendering of this opinion for him to say, Scott here, we were there for that. He was very honest and forthcoming, right? Which is, it's very acceptable, right? And so he follows it up with, she wasn't interested, not even a little bit. That certainly, in my opinion only, and I'm not a forensical anything, but just a very critical thinker, to say that goes against everything that you set it up by saying that you don't read minds, right?
So this feels like what it is. That's right. It could be fear. That's right. It could be guilt. It could be fear and guilt. But it could be a number of things. We can't read minds. We read symptoms, as you say.
There you go. Can't read minds, just symptoms.
Read a number of things. We can't read minds. We read symptoms, as you say all the time. We read symptoms, but those are pretty clear.
So yeah, those would be very clear symptoms. Very clear symptoms of a call that just came in that was just torturous. And all of this was omitted, right? All of this was omitted until I said something and it popped up over here. Let me read the questioning again for you. It says, it is being said that Candace got a call during your taping that Summer was seen in Georgia, allegedly by Jenna. Then she got the call that it wasn't her and you all knew this. Why she got upset and left the show when asked about the Cornbread Mafia. If so, why didn't you or Dr. Phil tell us viewers about this instead of letting us believe they got her? That's a really, it's completely contradictory to itself. Unfortunately, there's just no way around it, right? Practicing medicine now symptoms is bad choice of words. Yeah, that's you you could definitely say that, Mark. Thank you, Rage. If you would like to support my channel, you can cash at me at $ Benny Keys 420. It isn't mandatory at all. I want nothing from you today except for you all to have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Thanksgiving, guys. Where's Sierra? Sierra, thank you for purchasing your shirt and confirming the delivery. Anyone else that bought apparel, it will be coming. The first round just went out. So yeah, prayers for the Wells family today. While we're all around wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving and we can go on about our business today after we turn the YouTube off and have our cranberry and our stuffing and our ham and our turkey. We got to remember that there's a family there. Let's be fair, Benny. We don't know what she said when that call came in. I know what was said. I'm not taking it from Scott and Dr. Phil, short and sweet. So that, to be fair, my shirt has been in my mailbox for 3 days. Sweet, one shot, so it's coming. To be fair, short and sweet, is to say that I know exactly what happened, and I heard it from more than just Don and Candace. So I heard it from quite a large group of people, but it was just omitted here. You got to ask yourself, what is the motive for omitting that? I couldn't say, but there was clearly a motivation for omitting it, and sort of putting the Cornbread Mafia in the place of why she would be so emotional during that time, right? You could have asked her about, anything, right? Stonewashed jeans, and she would have probably gotten the same emoting response. So, I don't want to add one thing also to that, is that now these renderings off of the syndicated television probably would mean a lot more in terms of being being accurate to the critical thinkers. But for those of us that now see that things are omitted and drama is heightened and things are edited so as to get an emotional response, not from Don and Candace, but from us. We are the targeted market for Dr. Phil. If you look down in the bottom of any of Dr. Phil's shows right now, what they are going to say, look right here. Dr. Phil, 20th anniversary. So let me tell you the power that this little girl and this family has had during Dr. Phil's 20th anniversary of syndicated television. This is also sweeps month, right? Next month, they go to pre-recorded stuff from the beginning, right? This is part of the end of the season on the 20th anniversary. So, you really have a lot of stuff going on here in terms of Phil and in the behavior panel, but you have this sort of malfeasant, dereliction and omission of this call. So, it did kind of upset me this morning when I found, or when it was alleged to me that Jenna went on live somewhere and made herself culpable for that call. I'd like to have a little clarity to that part, because as the Thanksgiving approached this morning, I walked away from this Dr. Phil feeling like I knew less than what we actually got from the show. And let me tell you, the only thing that rendered me useless in all of this is this comment right here. Scott here, we were there for that. She wasn't interested, not even a little bit. Well, I just showed you he got through saying that he can't read minds. Unless she told Scott from the behavior panel, hey, Scott, I'm just not interested at all. Like, me even being here at the show shows my complete lack of disinterest. Let me tell you something right now. We all know, if we know the family candidly and intimately, Candace was not a proponent of going on the Dr. Phil show. So it really stands to reason that the person that she was not interested in going on Dr. Phil. That's what she wasn't interested in. She's very interested in finding her daughter. And in fact, the only reason she popped up on Dr. Phil's show is for her daughter. I'm going to leave you guys with that. Please like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. You can check out my merch store at Teespring, Benny Keys Apparel. I'm working on some black hoodies for the ladies who feel like they look good in black. So I would like to take Yeah, it's out of context. Absolutely out of context. If Jenna called, then to me that seems like someone's trying to You're absolutely right, short and sweet. That is my connotation, but I'm not really, I didn't want to say it publicly, but that's what I gain. I feel like potentially maybe Jenna thought like she'd be on the show. You see her in all the YouTube shows. So it certainly stands to reason that call was some sort of dramatic attempt to get on the Dr. Phil show. I couldn't say for sure, but I'm only rendering an opinion based upon other symptoms that I've seen. Is reward money a scam, Benny? Yes, it is. And in the let me show you here. Reward money is useless. It is actually absolutely useless. Most of those rewards are absolutely completely contingent and conditional. Just because you turn in information doesn't mean that you walk away with the 58,000. Nothing like that. If you look in the Orrin and Orson West case out of Cal City, they've got a reward that's either 225 or 250K. No one's coming forth for that. If you look at the Delphi, the Abby Williams and Libby German case, the Delphi girls, they've got a reward that's 3.25, 325,000. Nobody wants that. So really, when you think in terms of reward, and I don't want to get into the illicit fundraiser that was going towards the reward, but for those of you that aren't familiar with what the science is with reward, is that you do not show suspects, offenders, or people with information that you can play with that cap on the reward, right? You want to keep that reward capped and you want to keep it low, because when they know very early on that the reward is not going to substantiate or subsequent or anything like that, multiply. You can't add to it. You can't take away from it. There is a real dire, more of an emergent push to get the information in, right? So when you start playing with the reward and you can do actually the offenders can go on and watch the reward go up on some of these other channels, right? When they have these marathons and all of this stuff. So the offenders, in this situation, someone could wait until they thought the money was high enough to take the risk and then come in and try to cash that out. Let me tell you what, let's look at it right quick, really, really quick here. How many days have passed since June 15th, 2021? I'm sorry, guys. It's 163 days she's been gone. Rapidly approaching 180 days, which is 6 months. So 163 days, no arrest. The Wells passed the test. And if we keep playing with the reward, let me tell you, at this point, we're not going to like what the person that comes through with the reward for, because at 163 days, it's not from somebody from the church. It's not somebody from the Elks Lodge or the Rotary. It's not going to be the Masonic Temple. It's not going to be anyone good that would hold on to information for 163 days. Even if you got this information 80 days ago, or, at this point, whoever has the information is holding on to it, and they're not going to say anything. Yeah, so that's really the only thing that I wanted to render today. Is I need some clarity, behavior panel, on let's do. Can we do a repeat? Can we go back and re-render the opinion, but let's re-render it knowing that they got a call? Can we do that? I hope so. It's only right. That's what would set the critical thinking community back up. It would prop us back up with what you've already rendered. We need a re-rendering, sir. I ask all of you to go to the behavior panel and comment below one of the videos pertaining to Summer Wells and ask if we can get a re-rendering of the opinion based upon the call that happened during the filming. Thank you, guys. I love all of you individually. I want everyone to have a beautiful, wonderful Thanksgiving. But I want you to try to remember that even when we unplug and disconnect from this hellhole that we call YouTube today, the Wells aren't going to have a happy Thanksgiving. They may put on a front, they may put on a show for the people around, but they're missing 4 of their children today. So there's going to be nothing happy or thankful about today for them. Be thankful, right? Be thankful. I love all you guys. Bye.